Welcome to another episode of Off the Menu. I'm Vincent Franchini from Tumblr House here with Dr. Charles Coulombe.
Actually, you're not.
No?
Well, I mean, you are here, physically. And you are here with me, but I'm not a doctor.
Everybody's been sending in questions calling you doctor, though, so I just kind of made the assumption.
No, ladies and gentlemen. The only kind of doctor I might be is a root doctor, or some sort of weird witch doctor.
A witch doctor?
Yeah. I got the 50 Famous Witch Doctors School certificate. So I'm legally licensed to practice in the Congo. But here, I can't do it.
Okay, well, all right.
Now, everybody is going to be seeing this on April 23rd, the Feast of St. George.
Ooh.
Patron of chivalry. Yeah, now, ladies and gentlemen, I don't have a Cross of St. George pin, so I do have a Union Jack pin, but that is the Cross of St. George, that red cross. The white X, that's the Cross of St. Andrew for Scotland. And the red X is the Cross of St. Patrick for Ireland. So you see all three of the three kingdoms are covered in that.
There you go.
I'm very proud of that. I have some other good news for you.
Okay.
Yes. You know all the building and construction that they've been doing up on the 16th floor?
Yeah?
Well, you were in here last week, but it's been unveiled.
What has been unveiled?
The greenhouse.
The greenhouse?
It's a contemplation garden with little stones and bamboo and plums and so forth growing and water tinkling, all that kind of thing. It's a Japanese contemplation garden.
That sounds amazing. What floor is that on again?
16th.
16. Okay, I'll have to go up there sometime.
Well, you should, because depending on when you go up there. Now, I have been there myself, because I don't stick around here after dark. I don't think anyone else should either. But nevertheless, your brother, Mr. Big, the S-Man himself, who has not set foot out of the penthouse suite in, 10 years, 15, he is rumored to use the contemplation garden after midnight for contemplating whenever he does that.
Wow. That's hard to believe.
Well, I know, but cleaning staff reliably informed me that the private elevator up to the penthouse goes down, opens up, a couple of guards come running out to make sure no one's around, and a hooded figure goes into the contemplation garden.
Wow.
So, the S-Man liveth.
Oh, maybe that's his idea, the contemplation garden.
Yeah, well, that's the sort of thing he would like.
Yeah.
I mean, and he signs off on all the major things here anyway, even though he doesn't see most of them.
Wow.
I mean, you remember that sculpture in the sculpture garden? I think it's kind of ugly, but he signed off on it.
Yeah, that's his sort of thing.
At any rate, so
Wow.
the rumor has it, though, that he's been seen prowling the halls more than once lately after dark. So
That'd be quite a treat if I ever see him, because I always have to talk to him through the door of the penthouse. Yeah.
I know. And I'm lucky to get a phone call now and then. But as you know, I'm not really allowed up on the higher floors.
Uh-huh. Anything else new, other than the contemplation garden?
Well, yeah. They had fish again today at the commissariat. 5th day of the week.
Okay.
I asked him if it was haddock. And the guy says it was tilapia on Monday. I guess it's haddock now.
Oh, okay.
He says, stick around, it'll be mackerel by Monday.
Gross.
Well,
That's gross.
You guys know how to live around here, I'll tell you. All right, enough folderol. What do we got?
Before we start, we have one comment, one very flattering comment for you.
I love being flattered.
Sent in from Chris. He says, "Thank you for your show. It's one of the reasons my family is now converting from Islam to Catholicism. I just want to say I appreciate what you do." Ow.
Oh, indeed. Well, thanks be to God forever and ever. May your tribe increase, Chris. Thank you. I don't. I really don't take compliments like that very well. I mean, my usual response is kind of, aw, shucks. But if anything we've done has helped you to see the truth of the Catholic faith, thanks be to God, you know. But do bear in mind that if it wasn't us, it would have been something else, you know. Because if you've got the goodwill, God will get the faith to you one way or the other, but that depends on you. That being said, I'm pleased as punch that we were able to be a part of that process, so thank you for telling us. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have anything like that, feel free to tell us. I mean, we don't mind the criticisms of our wardrobe, mannerisms, and so forth that much, but it's always nice to know that we also do good things for people, other than horrify them with our sartorial choices.
Yeah.
There's a word for it.
Sartorial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, at any rate, as I say, that it makes the effort and the work that we do, and the torment, no doubt, that the yes man goes through on the top floor, all worth it.
Yeah, it does.
So, all right, what else we got?
Now, also, don't forget, buy books from TumblrHouse.com. Last time, I'm saying this again because last time I said there's a decent spike in book sales, so keep buying. And for those of you sending questions, it's not a coincidence that I happen to strongly favor questions from people who buy books through TumblrHouse.com. There are several people who have asked questions on this show who have bought tons of books. That's not a coincidence. I'm bought off very easily despite being a young executive of Tumblr House Corporation.
And repeatedly voted most popular by various branches of the organization.
That's right.
Usually not of the higher element, but the cleaning crew just love him, ladies and gentlemen.
They do.
Well, they say you don't leave a mess when you go home at night.
No, I'm very fastidious.
That's what they said.
Mm-hmm.
They say no Coke cans, no cigarettes, no nothing. And,
well, I don't smoke, so that makes sense.
No, that makes it easy. Although smoking is permitted in the Tumblr building.
Of course.
If I had a desk here, I'd be smoking out, but I don't, so I don't.
Yeah, your pipe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be puffing away. Anyway.
Okay.
There's no smoking in the studio, though.
No, of course not.
Well, they said, I asked, back in the days when he would speak to me, I asked your brother why that was, and he said, because the whole place would go up with flames.
Okay.
I find that hard to believe, but go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, first question is from Kevin Mayberry.
Okay, any relation to Mayberry, North Carolina?
I don't know.
Where Andy Griffith, or Andy Williams, Andy Griffith lived. Andy Taylor, the sheriff.
Mm-hmm.
The Andy Griffith show. Lived in Mayberry.
Yeah, you'd have to ask Kevin.
Without B.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, he says, I'm curious what Mr. Coulombe thinks about fairies. Almost all creatures of the world have some sort of fae. The Irish have a belief that during the fall of Lucifer, that those who revolted against God were sent to hell. Those that were obedient remained in heaven, and those that were neutral were forced to roam the earth until judgment. Do you believe that fairies are real? Are they neutral angels, or some other type of phenomenon?
Wow. Well, actually, all kidding aside, this is something I've thought about for many, 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 many years, probably since I was a little one. And I loved fairy stories. On one level, I'm very agnostic, because I really don't know, and I have the suppositions I have absolutely no real reason for having. I mean, I've never seen a fairy. I don't plan to see one. Having said that, though, I'm very much aware that these phenomena are, in fact, in all the world's cultures, as Mr. Mayberry suggests. And as with so many other things, it's very hard for me to believe that where there's so much smoke, there's no fire. Even if that fire is a pure green flame burning from the earth.
Elven flame?
Elven flame. As to what that might be, if they exist, I suspect, I mean, much greater minds than mine have wrestled with these questions, like St. Jerome and so on. One very good book that was put out by Dover, but it's in the public domain, and that was Lodovico Sinistrari's Demoniality, with the addition with the foreword by Montague Summers, which I recommend because his foreword is quite as useful as the rest of the book. And also, he made the translation. It's a better translation than the other one that's available online. So, any idea you can have about them is pure supposition. But I presume that if they exist, they're another race, not men, not angels. According to St. Jerome, he was told by one of them that some of them, anyway, know that they know something about mankind's destiny under the new law. Apparently, they're held to be able to see things like transubstantiation directly, but they had no revelation from God. So if you can imagine such a setup where you can go to Mass and you can see God transform himself on the altar, but what connection this might have to you, no word, no revelation at all. In such a setup, if in fact this were true, you could imagine that some fairies, elves, whatever they might be, would hate our stinking guts and envy us and do everything they can to wreck us, not unlike the demons. Others might hope to get in on our gravy train by being helpful.
Okay.
Well, I mean, think about it, from that standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Bear in mind, you're a creature that can, as I say, you can tell the difference between the stuff that's blessed and that isn't. You can go to the Mass, and you're invisible, of course, but you can go to the Mass, and you can see our Lord literally transubstantiate the bread and wine into the body, his own body and blood. And yet, this has no connection to you at all. It would create a very odd frame of mind.
Yeah.
And I mention this because that would seem to account for the attitudes toward mankind, the very mixed attitudes toward mankind that you tend to see among the fairies and folklore. On one level, they're superior to us in terms of their abilities and so forth, but on another level, we are superior to them because we have a direct relationship to God through the sacraments. So, that's my guess. When Sinistrari and Montague Summers' opinions on the matter, I hold pretty much with, to the degree that any of this is true. It might well be that none of it is. But, to these sorts of critters, incidentally, Sinistrari attributes poltergeist phenomena, rather than the ghosts of the dead. So,
okay.
There you go.
I think you want to believe it. Even you're agnostic, but I think you want to believe it because you like the thought that you don't have to turn to fantasy literature, to fiction to get sort of the things. We have unbelievable things in real life.
Yeah, and I mean we know that that's true in higher things, Eucharistic miracles and all that. We know that it's true in Marian apparitions and so forth. But this stuff is a little bit closer to where we are. And yeah, I mean, some of it, no doubt, is a bit of wishful thinking. But again, for there to be so much of this kind of lore, it's hard for me to dismiss it.
I'm still skeptical because we did many segments on this before, and you hypothesized that the UFOs could be the fairies and that they shapeshift according to us and what we're thinking.
Yeah.
I'm kind of skeptical on that. Why isn't it that UFOs just are phony, whereas what St. Jerome saw is something else entirely?
Well, I didn't say it was something else entirely. It could well be that in his time, which was still the ancient world, they appeared to us as fauns and centaurs because they felt like it, and because they knew that's what we expected. Then later on, they did the whole elven castle on the hill thing and dancing around the mushrooms, because that was what the people of that time were expecting.
Yeah.
So in other words, I'm not saying that those earlier guises were necessarily any truer than these.
Okay. Okay, I guess so. I don't know. For some reason, I guess my personal opinion on UFOs is more skeptical than perhaps age-old folklore.
Well, again, the thing is that with all these alien abduction stories, some of them have had implants removed and all that. Where does that garbage come from? I don't know.
Okay.
And again, the whole spaceship thing in the sky, that's a very old phenomenon. It goes back a long ways. Again, though, you can't really be too dogmatic in this area. You can believe what you want because
You're
there's no.
Yeah.
I mean, it may be that none of this stuff has actually ever happened at all.
Yeah.
And that we're basically arguing the politics of Narnia.
That's true.
It could be that, but one thing that you'll notice about it, taking it at its most possible and its most real, is that none of it, on a larger scale, is important. It's not. None of it is bringing a new revelation, or if it does, as in the case of the UFO people, it lies.
Mm-hmm.
So none of it. I mean, you see the elves dancing on the hills, and that's great and all that, but it doesn't have any real effect.
I think that's what makes it fun. It's like sports.
Well,
it's like it doesn't actually have any. It's just an escape.
yeah.
It has no bearing on anything else.
LARPers turn into elves after 7 years.
I didn't know that.
Yes, if you LARP continuously for 7 years, 7 days a week, you will turn into an elf.
What kind of elf? Because you said there are many different types of elves. There's monstrous elves. There's that. What is that? Red hat elves in their hats.
Red caps. Yeah.
Excuse me, red cap.
Yeah.
They're not all like Galadriel and Celeborn and Elrond.
Yeah, I think it depends on the LARPer's personal personality.
Ah.
You'll become whatever kind of an elf is most like you in nature.
Oh, okay.
So I'd be a Cluricon.
A Cluric? What is a Cluricon?
It's an Irish creature that inhabits wine cellars and drinks heavily and eats a lot.
Wow. Okay, I can see that.
So, hope that helps.
Okay, we kind of have a related question by Patty Fournier.
Okay.
Hello, Vincent and Charles.
Hello.
In a previous episode, you said that it might be possible that fairies, aliens, and the like may be some sort of shape-shifting race.
Maybe.
Do you think it's possible that they are demons? I've heard that during alien abductions, they almost always flee at the utteration of the most holy name of Jesus, or some other sort of pious exclamation. I recall a quote from Venerable Bishop Sheen, wherein he said that when men stopped believing in angels, quote, we became interested in the inhabitants on Mars and flying saucers. All these are poor substitutes for the world of spirit, end quote. What are your thoughts?
Could be true. I mean, there's the story of St. Coulombe, who was at Glastonbury, and he was invited to a fairy mound, and there was this beautiful castle on the hill and all this sort of thing. Then he said a few prayers and it all vanished, leaving him alone on a bare hillside.
Yeah.
As I said earlier, there's no reason why some of these creatures might not be evilly intended toward us. And under those circumstances, it would be hard to tell the difference between a demon and an evil elf.
Well,
in terms of their activity.
Well, it seems like this we just got established a good, I guess you could say, litmus test where you uttered the most holy name of Jesus, and if it flees, then it's probably bad.
Yeah, because something good wouldn't do that. Maybe they are demons. Who knows? As I say, it's not an area where anybody can be too dogmatic about any given point of view, because there's just nothing to base anything on.
Yeah. Okay. Next question is from William Johnston. I have a handful of questions for Mr. Coulombe.
Okay.
All relating to psychology.
We should have one. Psychology, I mean.
Yeah.
All right.
What is his general opinion of psychology, specifically clinical psychology? Does he think that psychology is in danger of becoming a quasi-religious grounding for many people, Or in other words, that they might take psychological starting points to be metaphysical starting points for their entire conception of life. Can a good and orthodox Catholic study and practice psychology and remain a good and orthodox Catholic? Would it be a good field or work for him or her?
Oof, that's a lot. Well, okay. Basically, I agree with the problems that the individual indicates toward psychology. Absolutely. There are psychologies and there are psychologies. The biggest difference, I used to say, between Freud and Jung was that Freud saw an awful lot of religiosity as misplaced sexuality. But Jung was just the opposite, and saw a lot of sexuality running around today as misplaced religiosity. Now, of course, it's Freud who gets taught in the schools. I think Jung, although he's far from perfect, is far more compatible with Catholic teaching. But again, he's far from perfect. Nevertheless, there's a utility to psychology, even clinical psychology, which we should not overlook. And I have known some perfectly devout Catholic psychologists who've done a lot of good.
I'll tell you one, Father Ripperger. I'm pretty sure he's got a doctorate in psychology or something. He's wrote a book on psychology that the man on the top floor is currently reading. My brother.
Yeah.
So
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So that's one example.
Well, there's the late lamented Dr. Nicolosi here in L.A. So I mean, these people exist. Now, would it be a good field for you? Well, first, get thoroughly grounded in the Catholic faith, philosophically, sacramentally, devotionally. Get your first principles down.
Mm-hmm.
And then look at the different schools of psychology and see. I mean, personally, I think you'd probably find Jung to be more compatible, but other people have seen that in Adler and so these other guys. So look at what's available, go with what is the most consonant with Catholicism, and go that route. There's really no point in endangering your faith by going some other way.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, by the way, shout out to Sensus Fidelium and its owner Steve. Honestly, best Catholic channel on YouTube, but you guys know that already. I don't need to say that. That goes without saying.
All right.
Yeah, because they have a lot of Father Ripperger talks. They have a lot of great talks on everything. So if somehow you don't know Sensus Fidelium, check their channel out on YouTube right now. But I think honestly they send us all our people, so I think all our people already know Sensus Fidelium. All right. Next question again from Godfrey Boyon. I was wondering, what is your opinion on Opus Dei and its founder Jose Maria Escriva in terms of their orthodoxy in the current state of the church, and if you knew anything about their supposed link to communism? I was raised in an Opus Dei environment and still maintain certain friendships with Opus Dei priests and numeraries, but I'm still not so sure as to what to think about their conservatism, since they see no problem with Vatican II, and thus has been a point of tension in my relationship with them.
Well, that's fair enough. I've known a number of Opus Dei people, some of whom I have a great deal of regard for. St. Jose Maria, he'd only used the Tridentine Mass till he died. He had a personal indult.
Mm.
But a lot of his disciples are extremely uncritical of the hierarchy under which they may live, which I understand because obedience and all that's a big part of their spirituality. But it would seem to me, as with the old thing about the Jesuits, willing to say that white was black if the superior said so.
Interesting, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit too far. Because you simply don't know to whom you're mortgaging your free will.
Ah.
So
it shouldn't be like the army.
No. At least, let's put it this way, it should be like the army, that you can be assured that the high command know what they're doing. But otherwise, nah.
Well, Okay. Also, one big wig Opus Dei. It's our great Archbishop Gomez.
Yes. Yes, he is definitely is or was. And he certainly is much better than his predecessor.
I can understand why Opus Dei is like that. One of the things that I read was, I don't know if it was, I think it's 14 or some number of signs that you're not humble.
Yep.
Very challenging. It's something to aspire to try to meet all those challenges. So that's one thing they're big on, I think, is obedience and humility. To the I don't know if I want to say to the extreme, but that's one of their things. I was actually looking to I was considering signing up to become Opus Dei.
Oh boy!
But they had this introductory explanation of all the duties, all this and that, and it was too daunting for me, at least at this point in time. But they don't mess around. I have the utmost respect for Opus Dei.
And they have the albino killer monk.
What?
The albino killer monk from Dan Brown.
That okay. I forgot that the conspiracy is run by Opus Dei, and I watched like 12 minutes of, I think, the first movie. I'm glad we're past that.
Me too.
Gosh, what a mess.
Yeah, sad tale.
Okay, next question is from MJX Hansinger. Could Charles talk a little bit about weapon ownership in monarchical nations? Second Amendment supporters will talk as if it were some divinely inspired idea given to the chosen people of America to be able to defend oneself and one's family. In particular, I am interested in gun laws of the more recently abolished monarchies like Austria-Hungary and the Russian and German empires.
Well, it's important to remember, firstly, that gun use in this country was very, very much a product of our frontier tradition and of the revolution, rather. The idea of the people having to defend themselves from their government. A government being inherently evil, basically. That's why we at the end of the revolution, we pretty much disbanded our armed forces. So, in Europe, the idea was when you had widespread ownership of guns, a lot of it would go to hunting, but a lot would go to what we call today militia, Stadtwache, city watches. The idea being that these people would act as the defense in peacetime of the cities of the realm, and then in wartime the king could call them up. But there was not the idea that the government was the clear and present danger to the people's freedoms that we think of it as. So.
Okay. Our last two questions are from Amy Gomez. For her first question, could Dr. Coulombe, Coulombe.
Not again. I ain't no doctor.
Maybe it's ironically because from the OCD segment last episode, maybe.
All right, maybe.
Anyhow, could Dr. Coulombe try to explain what is going on with the Vatican and China? It seems to me that these recent negotiations are only going to make things much harder for the underground Catholics. That'll get your juices flowing.
Yeah, and it'll also make it more difficult for the above ground Catholics, because there are some people who belong to the Patriotic Church, but belong to the hidden church in their hearts. Now, what does this do to them?
Oh, right.
So, no, I think it's horrendous. It's absolutely horrendous. If this goes through, this is going to go down as one of the stupider moments in papal policy, along with going after the movement in Australia in '54, signing a premature peace with the Cristeros. Yeah.
Well, you called, because you opined on this when it actually happened.
Yeah.
And you called it. You said this is a schism in the making. This is creating schism. And then I just saw, I don't know if it was from LifeSite News or I don't remember, but some reputable publication saying schism is happening already.
Yeah, it is. So I wish it were otherwise.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Our last question today, again from Amy Gomez. Could Dr. Coulombe offer some thoughts in how we might apply subsidiary principles in our family shopping? For example, it's better to support my local seller than to purchase the same product on Amazon or at Walmart, but I also need to save money for my family. Obviously, when the prices are the same, it's mainly a matter of convenience. But when it's a lot cheaper to shop at the bigger places, how do we know when to spend the extra and when to save money for the family? I know many people who struggle with this.
Well, and I understand that. Well, I would say firstly that if you've got the means, and you could do so without endangering your family's well-being, you should definitely shop at mom and pop stores.
Uh-huh.
But if you don't, well, you don't. But even under those circumstances, every year or twice a year, whatever, in a lot of towns, they'll have these shop local Saturdays
Yeah.
where people absolutely avoid the chains. If you can do that once a year, you'll be doing something. It'll be a statement.
Yeah.
But by all means, to the degree that you can, shop locally.
Absolutely. Yeah, one of the things that, I try to do for TumblrHouse.com to compete with Amazon, orders over shipping on orders over $25 are free. Also, we sell the books a couple bucks cheaper than Amazon. So, you know what? If you want to buy our books on Amazon, you're going to be paying more money. So, also, by the way, shout out to Amy Gomez. She actually buys a ton of books on TumblrHouse.com. Okay, so there we go. She practices what she preaches right there.
No, God bless her. May her tribe increase.
Indeed. So, anyhow, I think that's it. Yeah. So that'll do it. Any closing words?
Well, yeah. Happy St. George's Day. Walpurgisnacht is coming up this week.
I don't know what you said.
May Eve. When the witches and the ogres and the fairies are out. And they build big bonfires in Europe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's exciting.
Yeah, it is. So, you just remember, ladies and gentlemen, when May Eve comes up, if May 1st dawns, and you find you've been replaced with a changeling, don't say I didn't warn you.
Wow. We'll see you next time.
Ciao, ciao. Be good.